one thing I can say it now. If we would have kept the stuff we was investing into back then, we would be millionaires.
Yeah, we'd be good because everybody had their thing. Everybody had, they weren't bothering nobody. They were just doing their thing, and they did what they was interested in. I kind of grew out of it from a certain aspect in terms of like actually playing, physically playing the games and stuff like that. Never stopped watching the shows, but I just wasn't as deep into it as them. But people used to really like try to tease and bully them for those type of things. I'm like, leave them kids alone. Like they ain't.
That's major, bro. Because location is everything, especially when it comes to this, because that's the things that make people watch. And for you to be able to grow to a point and be able to do that, like, I applaud you.
In terms of the podcast, the selfish reason I started it was to be able to try to expand and build my network. So, and we talked about it a little bit the last time I saw you when you were in town. And in terms of when you have a podcast and you have an opportunity to kind of offer something or like a good conversation or whatever it is, and people can see that you're doing something, it makes it a little bit easier to make an ask to have a conversation with them versus just like, oh, can I pick your brain or can I do X, Y, and Z? And then when it's like it's an obvious give and take, then people are a little bit more liable to actually lean in and want to be able to support what you're doing or have that conversation with for that. And then also, you build confidence in podcasting, public speaking, things like that. So you get a little bit more bolder with your ask.
Okay. We are. Peace, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trust Fund, Baby. And I have a special guest here, one of my oldest friends. Actually, my only old friend. I don't keep people around that long. So I've been rocking with bro since sixth grade. This is like I said, he's even my oldest child, godfather, Denzell Turner, also one of the brightest people that I know. And I've seen him been able to scale in the corporate world in a capacity that most people don't get to, and also have a lot of dream jobs. On top of, he is a great podcaster and has a great platform, and he has a great team of people. So without further ado, let's get to it. Please introduce yourself to the people, bro.
What up, though, man? And very humbled by the intro. Definitely go way back, which is crazy to even think about. I drive through the old neighborhood sometimes, and I'll be like, damn, we used to be over here running through these streets. But I'm definitely blessed to be here on the pod with you, bro, and grateful for the invite. So my name is Denzell Turner. I'm the host and creator of the Black Fridays podcast, where I try to bring a spotlight to those who are utilizing their Black businesses, the profession that they have, their creativity in order to make a difference in their community in and outside of the Metro Detroit area, and been doing so for almost 4 years now in terms of the podcast landscape. By trade, I'm a marketer, so been trained by education and then also by profession in the field of marketing from a ton of different aspects. Been doing that for almost 15 years now, which is also crazy to think about. I'm sure kids probably starting to call me Unc at this stage, but it is what it is.
Getting up there.
I love it, man. I love every minute of it, and it's just great to, like I said, be on this platform because of seeing how similarly me and DJ think about a lot of things. And it's always been like that. And it's just crazy, especially given like where we are now at this stage of life. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to chopping it up, man. So let's get into it.
Yeah, bro. It's like I said, like all the way from sixth grade, and I tell people this all the time. Like I had my first real economics class in sixth grade, and people be thinking it was cap. Like no, like we were fortunate to have that type of education, and I know that it contributed a lot to the way that we are today. Just because the crazy thing is I've mentioned you multiple times on several podcast episodes that you're the person that I had my first actual business with. We had D&D Lawn Care. And we know we always talk about this story when we let this old man finesse us. Like we learned a life lesson, dog. Played all right. This man let us
Like,
cut a forest for $20. Holes in the backyard, everything.
hey, get your money up front and add tax. That's what we learned.
Bro, like I said, in sixth grade, learning life lessons. But we understood supply and demand. We also understood, like where we come from. Like we were fortunate to have, like all of our like needs met, but like we had to go get our own money for the stuff we wanted. I'm
Right,
like, we out here
right.
playing video games, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like, wasn't nobody
Yeah.
trying to fund that?
We wasn't cheap kids, and like you said, our people didn't have everything, but they made sure we had everything that we needed. But any extras, that was on us.
Bro, we was some hustling jits. No, but even still, like from the manner in which, like how you say, you deal in marketing now, I've you have had dream jobs in my eyes. Like when you had the job at Hasbro, like I was low
Yeah.
key jealous, bro. I'm like, this man over here with toys. I'm like, it's crazy because I'm comfortable to say it, and it seemed like it's a lot cooler now. It wasn't cool for a long time, especially when we was in high school. But like, I'm into anime and
Yeah.
cartoons. Maybe it's cool because like I don't look nerdy with it,
Right.
but like I'm wearing the anime sweater right now.
Right. But if you need to talk that talk, you can get in your bag.
Yeah, bro, because like that is one of the best business models I've ever seen, which is animation and children aspects as far as providing action figures and toys and video games.
Right.
It's a high scaling business model, even to where we're seeing gamification start collaborating with toy companies.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
people double back and start making action figures for everything.
Hmm.
So to be able to see you be able to tap into a part of something that was like so detrimental in our childhood, even from Dragon Ball Z, Digimon, whatever it was, like
Hmm.
every Yu-Gi-Oh, especially. Like,
Right.
yo, one thing I can say it now, if we would have kept the stuff we was investing into back then,
Good
we
money.
would be
We be good.
millionaires.
Yeah, we
Like,
be
bro,
good.
red on that stuff, bro.
Be good because man, I used to have like the canisters of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon cards back in the day, and then I decided, you get to that age. I think I was probably like 13. That phase where when we went to because we
On the
had
way
sixth
to high
grade
school,
on
on
the
the
way
way
to
to
high
high
school, you kind of like I'm a little too old for this. Let me move on from this.
that was a life changing that was a life pivoting point for me when I got to high school. I cut a lot of people off just because of society norms. Like you understand homies who was homies in middle school who we had the anime relationship with, you knew
Mhm.
like you had to dead that by the time you got to high school or it was gonna be a problem for you. And
Right.
that's just harsh, but it's the reality.
Yeah, it was real.
But the crazy, most of them people are the winners now. Like most of
That's
the
a fact.
people who are heavy tech nerds, anime people, they do very well for themselves, bro.
And to be honest with you, and for me, I kind of let it go because, like you said, society norms. But those people who used to be at, and you spent that first year at Cass, like people who you had your sections, and people like who was playing Yu-Gi-Oh and all that type of stuff in high school and didn't let it go quite yet. I tried
Mm-mm.
to always do my best, or tried to do my best, not in terms of judging those people like, oh man, they lame or they whack or whatever the case may be, because everybody had their thing. Everybody had they weren't bothering nobody. They were just doing their thing, and they would did what they was interested in. I kind of grew out of it from a certain aspect in terms of like actually playing, physically playing the games and stuff like that. Never stopped watching the shows, but I just wasn't as deep into it as them. But people used to really like try to tease and bully them for those type of things. I'm like, leave them kids alone. Like they ain't doing it. Like you
I
said,
ain't
they're some of the
bothering
smartest
nobody.
people that we know
Minded.
today.
Yeah, and that's the wildest things. These are the people who stayed out the way for the most part. Got clean records, good jobs, can take care of their family, probably got better credit scores than most Americans.
Right, right.
And it's just like you understand, like you are the sum of your life decisions.
Hmm.
So, and you just be like, it's all the way back from sixth grade and all the way up to high school. You are the sum of your life decisions, bro.
Hmm.
And how you've been seeing. I got babies. How difficult is it to explain that shit to a child? Like this is going to affect you all the way up into your 30s, fam.
They ain't trying to hear that. Not right now.
No, even in podcasting, like I've seen you do some amazing things. Like even like low one, the level of consistency you have, you make me ashamed of myself. That's like that is like I've seen you consistently drop episode after episode and great content, even to where the point where you've been able to start recording at the Palace. Well, excuse me, not the Palace. Oh, Detroit talk. Little Caesars Arena.
Yeah,
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 Little Caesars Arena where the Pistons play at, and that's major, bro. Because location is everything, especially when it comes to this, because that's the things that make people watch.
mm,
And for you to be able to grow to a point and be able to do that, like I applaud you. And like how just tell the people like how are you able to get to a point where you can start recording your podcast in the Little Caesars Arena, bro? That's crazy to even
yeah,
say that.
man. Yeah, yeah, and I appreciate that. For me, honestly, like you said, it start with the consistency. So, in terms of the podcast, the selfish reason I started it was to be able to try to expand and build my network. So, and we talked about it a little bit the last time I had saw you when you was in town, and in terms of when you have a podcast and you have an opportunity to kind of offer something or like a good conversation or whatever it is, and people can see that you're doing something, it makes it a little bit easier to make an ask for to have a conversation with them versus just like, oh, can I pick your brain or can I do X, Y, and Z? And then when it's like it's an obvious give and take, then people are a little bit more liable to actually lean in and want to be able to support what you're doing or have that conversation with you. So selfishly, I want to kind of be able to build my network, and that's exactly what I've been able to do as far as the podcast goes. And then by me continuing to do episode after episode, I get to like compound those relationships, and then so you get a chance to be in certain rooms or meet certain people that would be able to, as you go through life, where your paths have the opportunity to cross, and then either those conversations, knowing somebody, meeting somebody, and then being able to just have an ask if you have an idea. Because to your point, some of the things that I've been able to do before, just in terms of like jobs and working at Hasbro, actually recording that episode at the Piston Center, those are just kind of like cool ideas that I have. And I'm just like, well, damn, can I go out there and execute it? And then so now it makes it a little bit easier to execute on those things when I can come with that ask after I kind of built a portfolio to show people what I'm doing, and then also they can kind of see like it's legitimate, it's not no fugaziness or anything like that, and then so it just kind of opens that door a little bit wider to making those connections to be able to ask for that, and then also you build confidence in podcasting, public speaking, things like that. So you get a little bit more bolder with your ask. So instead of just saying, "Hey, can I interview somebody that works here that's doing some dope things that works for the Pistons?" I want to record in y'all facility. That's probably the main goal. In addition to like, I can do a podcast wherever I want. I got my own equipment, but I want to do it in y'all facility because I know what that backdrop is going to do and how much it's going to add to the episode and the conversation. So just being able to the consistency part helps build the confidence, and it also helps build the relationship that makes those type of things a lot easier. So that's how I would kind of break it down to the people.
You said something that was like very important, and I understand it, and that's also one of the main reasons why I had to kick myself to really like finally get into season 2 of Trust Fund Baby, because you have to have that presence, that level of consistency. You have to build it so that they can come to it, and that's really what you're expressing. Like if you didn't have the episodes, it would have been very hard to even pitch like, let me have a conversation, because
Right.
I have a brand that I made years ago, and I also used to do like little segments with one of my homies back in the day. It's called F the free lunch, like, and that's one of my favorite laws of the 48 laws of power. Is actually called despise the free lunch, because allowing somebody to take you out for a lunch, for me, like I said, that's probably like $40-$60. I'm vegan, sometimes stuff get expensive, so giving me $60 in order for you to pick my brain when my hourly consultations are higher than Myron Golden's now. You know how much Myron Golden charge an hour, bro?
I have no idea.
$40,000 an hour.
Damn.
Right? That's why I'm like, if Myron charging 40, I'm charging 50, bro. I'm like, cause I know I got it. That's why I'm like, bro. But I'm just saying, so a $60 trade off for an hourly consultation, which is clearly whatever I decide to value it at, is not reciprocal, and you have to bring some value And that's really what all we're presenting is like we've laid the foundation and we've provided value. And even
Right.
said, like I went to the podcast summit last year. I seen some things that I like, and then I also seen some things that I felt like just understanding what I know about business, where there were some weak points in podcasting.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about podcasting and where it is, and just what's popular in podcasting? Because like we don't have relationship podcasts. We
Mm.
don't talk about like we mention some current events and stuff, but we're not really trendy things.
Right.
So it's all these other relationship podcasts, and so it's just a lot of relationship podcasts. It's a few financial literacy people out here who I don't believe are too financially literate.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, how you feel about it? Because you hear how I feel about it.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. That's something that I could personally go with less of. However, I feel like the thing in terms of podcasting is you will be able to have a successful show just truly being able to dig into whatever it is your area expertise is, or something that you just are super curious about, and you may not necessarily have all of the education or understanding, but if you could just like dig deep into it and it's something you can continuously like chip away at or keep going with, that those are like the best podcasts no matter what they're about, because it's relationship experts out there who actually know what they're talking about, and they may have a show but they're not going to be as popular as the ones where you got people on there arguing about
The
should men
ones
and women go half on the rent, like, so that's
the
just
ones who are not experts
right.
about nothing
Exactly.
in life.
Exactly. People who just out here talking, and those things are great for a moment, but they usually lack staying power. And that's the thing. Those are things I try to stay away from. And it's a lot of like independent podcasters that I listen to out there or watch their YouTube videos, just because like you can see the passion in what it is that they do. You can tell that if they're not knowledgeable, they're trying to be more knowledgeable about it, and they may even have people on there who know more than them and interview them and talk to them about those type of things. Me, I'm just more so like business minded, so that's the typical stuff that I listen to. But I think that the stuff that's just like the popcorn culture, or things that people are doing just because let's have a podcast because we think it's cool or popular and don't really have no substance to it,
But
I
they're getting
don't want to hear
told
that.
everybody need a podcast. They're literally getting told everybody should have a podcast.
And
I I,
that's
I
I feel
totally
like
agree.
I feel like it's dangerous, but I had a conversation with some folks about this on another show, and I can see both sides of it, because I'm like, nah, everybody don't have a podcast. Because I take the craft seriously. I enjoy media. I have a degree in communication and marketing. This is kind of like my world to me. However, and I've always enjoyed media. I grew up on MTV, like the radio, all that type of stuff. Thought I wanted to be on TV and television back in the day, but found my lane in how I wanted to do that present day. But I think that if you're doing it for the art, whatever that art looks like for you in terms of podcasting, then I say great. But if you just want to get in front of a microphone and just talk nonsense or craziness or whatever it is, then I'm not necessarily for that. However, if whatever bag that you're trying to get in and what you're trying to get out of it, you have that right to be able to do a show. I don't think everybody necessarily needs a podcast. However, and I'm sure there's a ton of benefits to being able to do stuff like this, being able to create your show, have conversations with people, being able to do something on a consistent basis. There's a lot of benefits to it. I tell people, if you want to dig into entrepreneurship or play around or something like that, start a podcast. And then you got to come up with the concepts of your show. You got to figure out how to edit it. You got to figure out how to possibly get a team. You got to think about how much money you're going to invest into it. You got to do everything. And then, so if you're trying to like actually build something and play around with that, you should start a podcast. That's my advice to people. But it depends. If you're actually trying to be creative with it or do something, then I encourage it. But if you just out here whatever with it, then that's where I lose respect, because it's like you're not necessarily respecting the art of the media aspect of it.
You said something earlier and it made me I left my charger. Hold on one second, bro. I'm on some goofy stuff. I left my computer charger.
All right.
Where we at? All right, there you go. I'm gonna make sure she gets that. I'm not gonna forget my point. So you had said something earlier, and you had mentioned the, it's like art. Podcasting is an art, and art is subjective. And when you say it like that, as somebody who was an art major, like you'd be like, okay, I guess I gotta let these people live. But just respectfully, a lot of people art still sucks. It just
Yeah,
does.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
I'm like, I just gotta be real about it. But so with the degrees that you have and what you've been able to go to school for, how do you see you growing your podcast as a business? Because that's been one of the biggest things that I have been telling people, even in one of my last speaking engagements that I did like last month. I was literally telling people this is a media company. You have the ability to have an EIN. You can
Yeah,
compartmentalize your business and make other sections which can have other EINs, and you can build multiple credit scores that allows you to have funding. This is a real business, but people treat it like it's a hobby and they don't respect it. So what about you, bro? Because I know like with you having the degree that you have and all the time and energy you put into the brand, you plan on taking it somewhere, especially when we see 8-figure podcasters from our community.
right. Do you hear echo?
From you?
Yeah,
No, you hear one from me.
I hear one from my side. It might.
I don't hear it on the audio.
Let me see. It might just be me. Let me try something real quick.
Mm,
Hello.
I hear you.
I still hear echo.
Hold on. Let me. You still hear it? Mute yourself and unmute yourself.
Testing 1 2 3. Yeah, I still hear it.
You heard it the whole time?
I just started hearing
All right.
it like 5 minutes ago.
That's crazy.
Background noise.
In the settings, you can cut off your cancellation. You can go into the audio on the settings. Echo cancellation, reduce mic background noise, stereo, automatic adjustment.
I just did that, and I'm still
You
hearing it.
still
What
hear
the?
it?
Is there a chance for me to leave and come back in?
Yeah, you can leave and come back. Just click the
All
same
right,
link.
let me try that.
Mhm. Yo,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Do you still hear it?
Yeah, it's still echoing. We might just take a power cut.
As I don't hear it on my side, and it's not gonna be on the recording side.
Okay, so we'll be good.
Yeah. All right. You ready to pick up?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, last thing I asked you is about you. Like, pretty much, what is your mindset and direction towards business and podcasting, and what do you like really see for your brand, especially with the degrees that you have?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that question because that's something that I have been actually investing a lot of time and energy into, being able to figure out what are the next steps for the podcast. So for me, just being able to understand kind of the realm that I'm in, talking about business and engaging with different Black-owned entrepreneurs and creators and things like that. The things that it was a book that I read called how to monetize your podcast or something like that. And essentially, it pointed out 7 different ways or revenue streams in order to monetize a podcast. And like I picked out the ways that I felt that was best for me and made the most sense. And want to be able to invest in some merchandise, number one. Also, want to be able to provide services, which I'll talk about in a second. Circle back to that. And then also being able to do some brand partnerships and or sponsorships through content, which I've had the opportunity to do a few opportunities, but not a ton. And then also, I'm trying to think if there's another avenue that I would like to go, but I think that those are primarily the ones that I'm considering moving forward to be able to monetize the brand because, like you said, it's a lot of time and effort that gets put into the show. Like I literally do everything. Luckily, have my wife who helps me actually produce my episodes and operate my cameras while I'm doing my interviews. But other than that, I have to, be able to chop up the episodes, edit the episodes, come up with the content, find the guests, and go through that whole process. So I just want to be able to definitely capitalize on the art that I create, and then also reinvest so that I can be able to do a lot more of it and serve more businesses. My goal overall is to be able to help create more sustainable Black businesses, and so being able to grow the podcast to a standpoint where I can have an entity that would allow me to do that would be phenomenal. So that's kind of like forward thinking, that's further down the line. But right now, I want to continue to get better, reinvest in the show, and then also being able to monetize the brand.
No, trust me, I get it, and even to the point where when you learn business, you learn, like, we had early introduction to economics, and then I just, you just keep on understanding, like, this is necessary to make money. So if I want to learn how to make money, I need to learn these principles. And then we start implementing these things into podcasting. One of the main things that I see, it is the lack of structure in people business, especially like when it comes to like a large scale brand. Depending on how much money you make, you're gonna end up paying a third of that back in taxes, just depending on the way your business is structured. And then most people, they have it in the LLC. If you make over $50,000, you really should have a corporation. These are just minor things that I see within podcasting. But then we look at the ability to host ad space on your podcast. That is super beneficial. And then also, like, the networking component, some of the guests that I've been able to have has just been crazy, just through either my partner or myself. And it just be as simple as, I got a podcast, come through and let's have a conversation. It really be that easy, especially if you somebody who got sense and you doing something, people are not gonna even trip. Like,
Exactly.
if just like being 100, even though sometimes people do have to pay for guests, I haven't paid for not a single guest to come on my podcast, bro.
Same, and I won't.
Right, I refuse to. Maybe it's a Detroit thing. I'm like, hell no. I'm like, bro, I was like, I know too many people. I was like, you just won't get an episode, homie.
Yep. I won't do it. Somebody actually offered me money recently well, they didn't offer me money, but they asked me like, well, how much it costs to get on your podcast? And I'm like, there's no cost. Like, you can come on the show. I would never charge guests to be on my show. I just feel like that would dilute the entire essence of what it is that I'm doing. And then also, I think it removes some genuineness from the conversation as well, because I'm paying you to be here. And shout out to people who getting paid to go on podcasts. Like, somebody told me a week ago, I was at some event, and somebody told me that they were getting paid to pull up on a podcast soon. So, hey, shout out to the people that have it in the budget to do so. And I understand it. I get it.
I charge people to pop out. I charge people to pop out, bro. I'm coming to bring value.
Facts.
But
yeah,
if I rock with you, like, already know.
it's off
So
the love.
it's like, yeah, and fortunately, it hasn't been to the point where I have to charge a lot of people. Like, you really just have to be like somebody who I don't know, and you just reached out to me through like an Instagram DM or something. Because I'm just not like that. But as of recently, I've been ensuring that I've been doing contracting with anybody who I've went on their episode, or if they come on my episode. That way that we can ensure that the content actually gets cycled, because we agreed to split. So anything that comes from the YouTube videos or from any streaming, especially from the gaming episodes, like, and And even like just thinking about like this is a podcasting is a baby. How can you grow it? So that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to integrate the esports gaming and podcasting together.
Mm,
It's just you also start bringing a younger demographic into it
mm,
because esports is its own thing, and then the market cap for both of these businesses is crazy.
yeah.
Where we're talking about merging $2 billion industries.
And people watching this, he legitimate. He when he sent me the form to be on the podcast, I read the contract and it wasn't nothing fugazi. If anything, I'm like, oh, he's showing love in here. Like, typically people might try to get one over on you. He like, nah, if some money come from it, we split it down the middle. This is how it's going. So he living what he talking.
It's I like to be reciprocal, and especially in a system where it's so much to be got, and like even like on a Terrence Howard level, no, none of this shit really matter, bro. It's bigger things we could be doing. I don't gotta trip on you about this little stuff. Like I'm, like I'm really out here trying to build industries and stuff. Like I'm really on some Terrence Howard stuff. Like we've been like my homie been over here. It's been a tech week all week. We use AI assistants, and
Yeah.
it's just like that's what I was mentioning earlier. When you
What
learn a
what
business,
Orlando Brown say? They charging us for grapes and water.
things that should be for free. Bro, I felt
Oh,
that in my heart, bro. But like these are problems. We're supposed to be the ones who implement the solutions. And like Nipsey, he said it at the end of one of his songs. That's how I knew when it had cut to the audio. He was like, it's
mm,
gonna be large scale companies crumbling, and then it's gonna be new businesses emerging overnight. I'm like, we're those new businesses. We just have to
right.
do the work and assert ourselves. So when you seeing problems in emerging technology, you have to assert yourself in that situation because you know the masses are not going to do it. Just when you know better, you got to do better. But also think about how this benefits us and future generations, us establishing families like the Rockefeller, the Johnson family that have companies that outlive us because we've just established things. Like, have you ever seen Succession?
Succession. No, I never watched it. I'm familiar.
It's yeah, great show. The crazy thing, you would love it because they're a multi-billion-dollar family that came up off of a media company, bro.
Mm,
That's how they got all their bread off of media, TV companies and stuff, and then they're trying to figure out how to scale and branch the company over into other sections. But also, the father is trying to figure out how to step down and which one of his three children should be the next leader. So it's really about a succession plan. But like I said, there are problems, you are supposed to be the one to create the solution. One of the biggest problems that I see in the influencer society is, and you even mentioned you had the same issue. People have to buy back their time, bro, because of how
mm,
much work it takes in order to get a lot of this stuff done when you create content.
mm-hmm.
That is one of the biggest issues that I've seen that I have been working actively to alleviate. Of course, I'm going to charge, but I'm like, welcome to capitalism, shit.
Right, right. That's the society we live in.
Yeah, but it's like you see this issue, and when especially when it's something that you can relate to, because I hate having to feel like I'm a slave to Instagram. It's
Yeah,
never fun.
yeah.
I don't want to work for them people. I work for me. And
Mhm.
I know a lot of people can relate to this. You work for them because you work and you wake up to get on that platform in order so that you can reel something else in monetarily pleasing to your business model or yourself. And that means that that marketing or media agency has a stronghold on your livelihood just through your time.
Right,
We have to be able to buy our time back, bro. And that's as a
right.
podcaster, content creator, somebody who's on any social media platform, best thing you can start doing is integrating tech into your business, bro.
Fact.
Automations and like even me, like I'm guilty. I got foreign assistants, bro. I got people on a super low payroll. But I'm like, nobody can question it because of what the business does. And I also give them bonuses. I look out for them. People be paid
Right.
on time. It's just that's the price point for them people. And I'm not willing to argue with an American about what I want for my company because for some reason they have that in them that you can tell me what's good for me when I'm paying you. And I'm like, I don't got time, because it happened to me twice today, and I damn near argue with these people, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do it.
I'm laughing because I know you. That's the funny part.
Bro, that's why I'm like, I know you're not telling me about my own. When you don't even do this, man, I was like,
I feel you, bro.
but
It's tough.
you know, like, also that's one of the aspects that I am actively working on, and like podcasting, it creates a safe space and a space for growth as well, just by having conversations with men and women. And even when you go back and watch your own episodes, it puts some things in the retrospect, because when you're honest with these conversations, sometimes you'll be, vulnerable, and you'll say certain things. But like, I know personally, and you know me, since we were children, bro,
Yeah.
before I had children, I can be a very mean individual. So I'm working on my humility. It's just, maybe if I had a daughter, it'll soften me up, but I don't. I'm good on babies right now.
You
I'm
know,
working on it.
baby
But
steps. You
podcasting,
know, you go from mean to being smug. You know, smug is right there in between. You ain't got to be a total butthole. You just be medium. You
yeah,
bring it
bro.
out. You
But
pop out when you need to. You just pop it out when you need to.
and that'd be the thing you learn, bro. That's what podcasting has expressed one thing to me. I'm like, we're like baby actors.
Yeah.
We're like baby actors, like with the, and then the direction podcasting is going to fade into streaming. It's going to, is
Yeah.
going to.
Because and to add to that point, um, it's gonna fade into streaming because now, like we talked about earlier, we have these podcasts where obviously they're all based in, majority based in reality and real life things that's happening. But there is a rise in theatrical podcasting, and like people, Spotify, these different companies giving bags to people to create fictional content in audio format. And then what does that turn into? That will turn into eventually movies and things like that. So to your point, yeah, this is all going to the streaming route for sure.
Bro, who the hell was it? Twitch. They offered this man $10 million just because he played Call of Duty and wear a fake mustache, bro.
Right.
It's like when you understand, it's so marketing ties into human psychology, and
Yeah.
then it's other components. When you understand what the human wants are and what they desire, or what they have been conditioned to desire, it is very easy to learn how to find your target audience based on what your niche is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what, as a podcaster, you got to figure out, like, what are you offering to the people. And it's okay not to do TikTok dances. Don't let these people sucker you into looking like a sucker online. You do not got to
I'm a
do that shit.
savage. Classic bullshit.
Bro, oh my god, it is so
Because
terrible.
when I talk to people that would just ask me for general advice, they're like, "Oh man, I would love to post or do whatever, but I can't dance and I can't." I'm like, "You ain't gotta do none of that. Like, you just be yourself. You don't have to be on there gyrating for likes."
Bro, I fired somebody who was over my marketing at one point in time, because it was a European woman at the time, and she was setting up some of our tribal marketing and stuff. And she was like, for TikTok, can you do this one dance? And I'm like, I told Shorty straight, I'm like, hey, I'm from the west side of Detroit. Ain't no way in hell. I'm like, people know me. Ain't no way in hell.
Now, if you're just a dancing ass person, then okay, yeah, that's on brand. But
Even
no,
still, bro, I used to dance in college, but that's not what I'm going to allow people to know me for.
right,
That
right,
waters down your image and brand. And I love dancing. I love our
yeah,
culture. We're dancing ass people,
right,
but finance ain't shit funny about it.
yeah,
It's a black and white get money thing. We can have fun getting money, but there's no need for me to dance. And now that's that salesy feel good stuff that I don't like.
mm-hmm.
We like, and I know you can. It's we can just be grown, genuine people and just present our brands and that be okay. All of the extra stuff, I'm I'll love when it starts to fade away and we have a normal society again.
Yeah,
Like when
don't do it
men wore
properly.
suits and would snatch people up in the business meetings, like when people got hands put on them, I miss them times. Cause people not about to be talking crazy in business meetings, and they was wearing they was three-pieced out, and the moment somebody said they reaching across the table, bro, and
Hmm.
I respect that time because people knew it could get serious. These screens have watered life down.
Yeah, yeah, it could get wicked real quick in real life.
But even still, we are in a position to where we have the ability to be creators and shapers of the new upcoming world because we're going through a transition that has never happened in time. So for this type of transition, where do you see yourself after the smoke clears, and where do you see your legacy being built out?
Like I had mentioned before, I think for me, being able to build more of like a media, I wouldn't even say like empire. I don't know if I'm that far ahead, but being able to build some type of media conglomerate or media system where people can be able to utilize those services in order to boost their brand and learn how to be self-sufficient for themselves in the digital space. That would be amazing for me. And then also being able to actually have like an actual hub for people to come with an idea of what they want to do for their business, and then uh, they actually leave with the a tangible plan in place in order how to execute that business, if not standing up that business when they walk out the door. So that's something that I'm really trying to plant my flag in terms of what does this whole situation look like. And in the media landscape, I really just want to be able to know that I did my job at the end of the day, elevate the people that I care about, which is our people, those people who are out there actually on the front lines in their community who are making it a change to their business, because we often think about the small businesses or over overlook the small businesses in our communities because they are the backbone of this country, like small business in general. However, even more so in our communities, those people who have been that mom and pop shop, have been that reliable corner store for 30, 40 years, we got to make sure that we make sure to continue to elevate them. And then other people who have been holding it down from dry cleaning standpoint, all those things, those small businesses are very essential to what we do. And then I would love to be able to help them continue on what they do. And then also those people who have an idea and are trying to solve a problem, which is essentially is what your business should be doing, regardless of who you are, trying to solve that problem. And then especially as it pertains to our people and elevating the culture and our folks, that's where I want to be able to plant my flag and say I help make the city of Detroit a better place. I help make America and black cities and across America a better place for black countries, because I would love to be able to, expand into different global markets. And shout out to the people. I do have people in I have people in the continent of Africa watching the show, West Africa. I have people in Mexico watching the show, Canada. Shout out to all of y'all. And then Japan, which is crazy. So shout out to all those folks that been watching. But just want to be able to, the black people, the people that look like me across the world, I want to be there to elevate them and what they do every day.
No, that's what's up. Yo, pod is international, bro. And like the craziest thing is I don't know how I started getting Belgium downloads, but I was. So like I know the impact of international. It's like the craziest thing is to be able to live a rap lifestyle and don't have to be a rapper. Like get
Mhm.
that same love and affection and attention internationally that people who impact the world through music get. You're being able to do it through speech. Like podcasting is very powerful. And for some people, it creates a safe, relatable space.
Yeah.
It is it's not going to go anywhere. So I do understand why people be like everybody should have a pod, but everybody is not good at this. I'm just saying. No, bro. But see, that's when people be like, I'm mean. I'm just realistic, which
Right.
we live in a sugar coated society where
It's the
people are just
it's the sad thing, you bro. That's all that it is.
I'm about to
You
say
can't really sit there
you
and
went
fake the
through
funk.
no, bro. It's a I'm super thankful to be in this position and also to know people like you who it's always great to be able to have somebody who you've been able to grow with it just in time and watch them do well. And I've consistently watched you grind, bro. Even when I was effing around in high school, you stay, you held up your business at Cass, you graduated, and you went to University of Michigan, bro. It's like you have a great resume as a melanated man and even what you're doing like I just want to make sure that people on my platform know what it is that you do because and I also want them to make sure that they support your pod and even like I said the international aspect is amazing because I know what your platform looks like. You cater to the mom and pop shops and when you said that earlier it made me think about Superland
Yeah,
because like my mom used to work at Superland and my aunt used to work at Superland when they was younger and Superland fed us our whole youth, bro. That was the main
mhm,
grocery store we would be at.
yep,
And it's just like these is I understand that and we want to make sure that we, like we highlight these staples in the community, but we also want our people to be these staples in the community as well. And I always
right.
tell our people, I need you to have a business so I can patronize you. And
That's
it's
it.
it's not a lot of people who actually influencers think they're a business, but they're not a business. And I need them to understand that. Businesses you've seen the Robert Kiyosaki chart, right?
Yeah,
The four quadrants.
yep.
A lot of influencers are employees to themselves because of how hard they have to work.
Mm-hmm.
They're not business owners, they're not investors, they're employees to themselves. So you have to understand and be realistic about the quadrant that you're in and actually become a business owner. You have to be able to work on the business and not in the business. You feel me?
Yep.
That's how you're gonna buy your time back. Now, if you can give any tips about, just how you were able to start out, because I see, like I said, you do organic. You
Mhm.
will deal with business startups and people who may, like how you said, hey, may reach out to you. How are you able to build your platform like that to a point where you were able to get where you are now, almost 4 years later at the Pistons Stadium?
Um,
Because
hmm.
it's people who doing the same thing, bro, and they're not getting there.
Yeah, it's really. I think the biggest part for me, just somebody, I'm very introspective person. So one thing that I always try to do is just think about, well, how can I do certain things better, and really just try to utilize that in order to continue to build upon whatever it is that I'm doing now. And then sometimes I get mad at myself where I'm like, damn, you should really be, you need to do this, but you haven't really dug into it because you're working on X, Y, and Z with the podcast. But I really just try to be continue to build upon what I already know, knowing that being very comfortable knowing that I don't know everything. Even though I've been doing this for 4 years, technically Black Fridays is actually like my third podcast that I've ever done. The other two
Mm.
I just didn't stay consistent with or continue to do for a long time. I started my very first one in high school, and it was a internet radio station, is what they called it. And so I did that in high school for maybe like 6 to 8 months, and then in the pandemic, I started a podcast that was like a theatrical podcast that I played around with, a series that I started on Snapchat. And so being able to like Black Friday is my thing, I was able to actually dig my teeth into, and so I'm always trying to continue to feed that, continue to feed that itch to continue to get better. And I think that that's one of the main things that sometimes people overlook. It's feeling like even if you get a little bit of success, you may start to think, oh well, I got this thing down pat or I got a formula or whatever. But it's always more that you can know. It's always more that you can do. It's always stuff that people know that you don't. That's been there or are at the top of that mountain that you haven't necessarily climbed yet, and you really just got to be willing to. You got to be coachable in terms of yourself and knowing what you don't know, and understanding what you do want to know and where you want to go next, and how you can continue to build on this thing. Like every day, I'm trying to figure out how can I get my YouTube videos up, or views up, and it's not even necessarily about money. It's just like, well, what's the challenge of actually getting those YouTube videos up? Is it thumbnail? Is tagging? Like what is it that's gonna help this thing pop? And just really trying to continue to keep chipping away at it. That's something that's been super helpful for me. Just reinvesting time and money now. I've been more comfortable because I'm cheap, bro. So I'm not.
I am too, believe it or not. I'm cheap as hell still.
So I got more comfortable actually spending money on the brand, even though I'm not making as much as I would love to be able to make, or feel like I should be making. I spent money on being able to podcast, excuse me, courses, books, actually doing one-on-one sessions with people. The podcast summit
Event.
this year, I missed the first
Yeah.
one in Miami, and I was like, "It's no way in hell I'm missing the one this year." So I'm pulling up to that. So really, just trying to whatever I can do is gonna help my craft. I'm definitely trying to invest in it, and it feels good. It definitely feels good. And then
I'll tell you,
that point,
last year, oh, go ahead, bro. Go ahead, my
I
bad.
know. I was just gonna say, once you get to that intersection, that's what helps you keep building upon whatever it is that you already got, and that's what's been helpful for me.
No, I was just saying, like, I tell you right now, out of all the events I went to, Invest Fest, everything, the podcast summit was the best event that I went to last year. Just as far as the education structure, maybe it's because of what podcasting is and how new it is,
Yeah,
but also it was. I'm a nerd. I like to see structure, and I like to see the
right.
ability for where people can find benefit in something, especially if they're gonna pay for it. I seen the podcast summit provide that to people last year. And that's why I was like, I applauded David Shantz for what he was able to do. But I
Mhm.
do got a question for you though. Top 5 dead or alive, who would you get podcast interviews with?
Ooh, man. This gonna be tough. Who would I do, dead or alive? Who would I do? Who I got on my Mount Rushmore? All right, so one person out the gate, Isaiah Thomas. I'm gonna just put that out there. Zeke, Bad Boy, Pistons. I want to interview Zeke and have him on the show because aside from him being an amazing basketball mind, a basketball player, he also has been doing this thing in terms of the business landscape as well for years, for decades, and has been at the forefront of a lot of different things as it relates to sports, and then also some media related things. So I would love to be able to pick his brain and talk to him. I would love to be able to do so it's this idea that I've been playing around with my wife just in terms of like capsule content and being able to like have people like why don't people have more recorded moments with their loved ones? And I don't want to get too deep, but I would love to be able to have like a sit down interview conversation with my mom because she passed away when I was 17. And so being able to like have a conversation with her as an adult, I would just really like love that because I can really now we can have like some legit conversations because I'm talking to mom the person and not necessarily mom the mom. And I think that would be amazing to be able to sit down with her, hear her stories, experiences from when she was growing up, when she was my age, how she kind of thought about things and stuff like that. And so I would love to be able to do that. That would be dope. Um, who else? I'm trying to think from like a business standpoint. Uh, from a business standpoint, who else would I want to? I put it out there. Cole. Cole is one of my favorite rappers, and I think he would just be dope. Like talking to him would probably just be like talking to one of the homies. So I would love to be able to kind of pick his brain. So that's 3. Let me see if I can think of 2 more. Who's somebody that's just like super dope that I pay attention to a lot that I would like to tap in with. It used to be some people that I used to have on my list, but like as you get older, you realize people ain't who you thought they were.
Yeah, because it's crazy. You put me on to a few people on IG and stuff, and I'm like, I'm surprised you didn't say some of their names.
You said on what?
On Instagram, you had put me on to a few people because like
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't know I didn't know who Gary V was until you had told me, bro.
Oh okay. Yeah. Yeah. Gary V. I kind of outgrown Gary V. I do like what he did and what he did for me at the time, but I some of his stuff kind of get repetitive. You can't keep listening to it. So and then also Gary, not really a great listener, so he'll be doing the most of the talking. I wouldn't want to have a conversation with him necessarily. At least not in an interview format. Uh, Nikki, her name is Nikki Saunders. I think it'd be super dope to talk to her. She may or may not be at the podcast summit. I can't remember, but she's been a big inspiration on my show and what it is that and how I kind of format things and think about content. And I think I'll probably, if I get to sit down with the cats from Earn Your Leisure with Troy and Scott, that'd be yeah, that'd be dope because they were like the blueprint. They like the base for my show and what I do. Actually, no, I'll throw a bonus in there. Jamel Hill, because she also gave me she also was part of the reason why I wanted to start my show and gave me a lot of formatting to how I wanted to do my sit down and do an interview with.
That's crazy. You make my list sound ignorant. I got people.
Eric Mays
I still want to interview, bro.
Eric Mays will be fire.
I still want that interview, bro.
R.I.P.
Yeah, legend, Michigan legend, bro. Like nobody. I don't think we'll ever get another thing like that, bro.
Nah, man, it ain't happening.
No, but that's dope, bro. And like, outside of everything else, please tell the people where they can find you, and if it's anything that you are, like, also your services, how they can tap in with everything that you're offering, bro.
Yeah, so where the people can find me, you can find me on Instagram at Black Fridays Podcast. My personal Instagram, Denzell Denzell Turner, just my first and last name. My personal page. You can also check out the podcast website, blackfridayspod.com. Black Fridays with an S, pod.com. And there you can find all of the streaming links, also the YouTube channel, and type in Black Fridays if you want to subscribe to the show, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Black Fridays Podcast, on all of those platforms. And in terms of the services that I'm offering now, I am doing a done for you and done with you podcasting service. So I can be able to come to you. I have mobile equipment and we can get you set up and do a podcast for you, and then also be able to do the editing behind that as well. So that is a service that I'm offering. And then also user generated content. So either myself being able to create the content and be the person on the screen, or work with you and your brand in order to develop some stuff that's going to be beneficial for you. Got some examples of that on my YouTube channel as well that you can be able to check out, some different vlogs that I've done from different events and things that I've been to. So you can check that out. And if anybody's interested, please hit me up at those different spaces, and you can hit my email too, info@blackfridayspod.com, and I'm happy to help. Shoot me a DM. Also, any podcasting questions or anything like that. Love talking about this stuff, as you might be able to tell. And I'm really, I ain't no gatekeeper. I ain't here to gatekeep. I'm here to let you know what I've been able to know, and happy to do that within reason. Like don't get crazy with it, but yeah, within reason, I'm more than happy to help out.
No, for sure. And I most definitely appreciate you coming on the episode. I have to have you back so you can get smoked in Call of Duty, bro. It's just like you don't have an option.
You know what the sad part is? Back in the day, I probably argue with you like you sound crazy, but I ain't been on the duty in so long, man. You probably got me. So
You
I
gonna
need to
get
get my
smoked. You're gonna get smoked, bro.
but if you want to talk 2K, you want to talk Madden, then you barbecue chicken.
You already know. I never played that stuff after Donovan McNabb. After the Donovan McNabb cover, it was over for me. I stopped.
Damn, that's
You
a
haven't
long
seen
time.
me. Right, I was still on Xbox. That was probably the last Madden game I bought, bro. And that was 2K. I don't even think that was Madden, bro.
You're right. Yeah, that was either 2K, because McNabb was on 1 year and then Terrell Owens was on another year. They were like back to back. So yeah, it was one of them, but that was like 05, 06. So that was a long time ago.
Yeah, bro. That's no. We can if so it could possibly be even. You can see me on Fortnite because I don't play that. you can catch me in Grand Theft Auto, bro, or Call of Duty.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about fighting games?
What I got? I got Mortal Kombat, Tekken. I actually got Dead or Alive on my PS5.
Oh damn. Yeah. Fighting games, I can. Yeah, I'm button mashing. I'm button mashing.
You said
It's
you
on.
No, it's
It's
over.
up.
It's over. I look forward to having you back so that the people can see this.
For sure. Hey, we can make it happen. We can make it happen, bro.
Well, all right, brother. I most definitely appreciate you. It was a pleasure having you on the episode again. And once again, this has been another great episode of Trust Fund Baby Podcast.